11 spine-chilling Circle K encounters revealed. Terrifying tales that will haunt your sleep. Tara sat behind the counter at Circle K, her heart racing the way it always did just before a graveyard shift. The automatic doors swished open and shut, offering a chilling welcome that echoed through the store's sterile lights. Yet tonight felt different. The whispers of unease, a dark wave rolling through the community, seeped in with the dusk. Stories of disappearances were the talk of the town, and everyone knew the rumors about the shadowy figure whose gaze seemed to follow the residents like a predator stalking its prey. As she scanned the parking lot, she couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Just then, the bell above the door jingled, and in walked an elderly man. He shuffled like time itself had aged him, his eyes piercing and unsettling under the fluorescent glow. "What's the best snack you have?" he asked, his voice smooth yet laced with something sinister. She hesitated, noticing how he lingered at the counter, his gaze lingering a beat too long. He asked about her long nights, the distant hum of fear beginning to swirl painfully in her chest. Feeling sweat trickle down her back, Tara grabbed a pack of chips to hand him. "These are good," she replied, forcing a smile. But it only seemed to provoke the man further, his probing questions unsettling her. "You live close by. What about your daughter? She must be missing you." Tara's heart raced. How did he know? On her break, she overheard his low voice slicing through the air like a knife, speaking to another customer about local legends, the ones her grandmother used to tell on stormy nights. "They say the Circle K hides secrets," he whispered, and a chill shot down her spine. The stories spoke of shadows that took more than just lives, they trapped souls, binding them to the darkness within. As he spoke, her instincts screamed. This wasn't just folklore, it felt like a warning. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Tara returned to her shift, but the grip of paranoia was tightening. Each customer seemed to carry a hint of danger, each casual glance, a potential threat. The old man kept reappearing in her peripheral vision, like a gust of wind after a chill. She started connecting dots in her mind, brick by brick, as she hushed the night shift drama: missing pets, absent neighbors, whispers behind closed doors. Late-night whiskey drinkers became suspicious, and the whole town felt like a noose ready to tighten. When the old man again entered that night, Tara's breath quickened. She needed to confront him, to question how he knew so much about her, about them. But as she moved through the aisles to corner him, anxiety drummed in her veins. Everything felt heavier in the air, like gravity shifting, pulling her down into the unknown. Suddenly she stumbled upon something horrific in the back aisle: a tattered, leather-bound journal, pages yellowed and words written in frantic scrawl. A forgotten history? No. A warning? Her heart sank as the feeling of being watched turned from paranoia into a tangible presence. The fluorescent buzz grew louder, menacing in the silence. Tara stood frozen, her instincts shouting for her to flee. Who was this man really? And what if the secrets of Circle K were darker than anyone dared to imagine? Tara's breath quickened as her heart pounded like a drum in her chest. The journal drew her in, though every instinct screamed for her to leave. She flipped its fragile pages cautiously, the brittle paper crackling like old bones. Scrawled phrases jumped out at her, fragmented thoughts that spoke of shadows, of voices in the night, and of unspeakable bargains made in dark corners. Each word felt like a prick on her skin, igniting a deep unease. Suddenly, a noise shattered the quiet footsteps echoing against the tile floor. Tara whipped around, her eyes darting, panic setting in. The old man stood there, watching her with that unsettling gaze, as if he knew what she was holding. There was no denying the knowledge in his eyes. "Do you wish to know the truth?" he asked, his voice a low hiss that curled through the air like smoke. Tara's throat tightened as she forced herself to respond. "I don't know what you mean," she stammered, clutching the journal tighter. He stepped closer, invading her space. That book belonged to someone who discovered too much. You're not meant to read it. His tone turned to a sinister whisper. It can change you, Tara. The fluorescent lights flickered, plunging the store into darkness for the briefest moment, a heavy shadow shifting across the floor. Tara's heart raced. The old man leaned in even closer, and she recoiled, the journal slipping from her hands and crashing to the ground. The pages scattered like fallen leaves, revealing phrases that seemed to leap out at her in the dim light. The Circle K feeds on fear. They cannot escape. You'll join them. Tara, trembling, frantically gathered the pages. People are missing, she blurted out. What do you know? He smiled, and the movement felt wrong. They all thought they could ignore the signs until it was too late. You have a choice, you know. He tilted his head, needle-thin eyes glistening. Stay here and guard the gate, or walk away, but don't look back. Her mind spun. The town's chilling disappearances, the ominous stories whispered behind closed doors. Was he hinting that she might be the next victim? No. I won't let them take me, Tara shouted, determination quaking in her voice, though doubt knotted in her stomach. She didn't know what would happen if she stayed. But the old man just chuckled softly, a cold sound that chilled the air. Then you really have no idea what's coming for you, do you? The door's bell jingled again, and Tara's heart sunk deeper as a tall shadow stepped into the store, a figure she recognized but hoped never to see. It was one of the missing residents, Emma. Her once vibrant face now gaunt and hollow, eyes glazed over as if staring through a fog, she moved in a trance. Help! Emma whispered weakly, reaching toward Tara, desperation written all over her face. The sight shattered Tara's heart but filled her with dread. What had become of Emma? Tara looked from the old man to Emma, the weight of the decision crushing her. What was she supposed to do? And then, from the depths of her memory, a harsh whisper broke through the noise. They come at night, shadows of those who knew too much. The tension in the air thickened. Tara had to choose. Stay and confront the man and the entity he served, or flee into a night fraught with unknown dangers. What if she turned her back only to find the shadows creeping closer, feeding off her fear? With her heart racing, Tara found her voice. What do you want from me? The old man's smile widened, revealing teeth too sharp. To set you free or to ensnare you? The choice is yours, my dear. And as the darkness pressed in, Tara understood the counting shadows in the store were watching, waiting. In that split second, she realized the secrets of Circle K were about to unravel, and she was at the center of the storm. What would she do next? As time slipped through her fingers like sand, a terrifying question lingered. Could she escape the grasp of the things lurking within the store's shadows before it was too late? Tara's eyes darted between the old man and Emma, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and urgency. Emma! She called out, stretching out her hand as if she could reach through the stifling air that separated them. But Emma just stared blankly, her mouth moving as if trying to form words, but no sound emerged. The old man tilted his head, watching Tara with a grotesque fascination. Poor girl, he sneered softly. She is too far gone. Just a shadow now. You can't save her. The words hung heavy in the air, each syllable laced with malice. Tara felt a wave of despair crash over her, but deep down, an ember of resolve flickered. I won't abandon her, she whispered defiantly, despite the dread curling around her. With a sudden jolt of determination, Tara dashed toward Emma, her boots slapping against the cold tile. The flickering fluorescent lights dimmed even further, casting long, twisted shadows that reached for her like dark fingers. Don't! The old man barked, but she didn't stop. You'll only invite them in. The air crackled with tension as Tara clutched Emma's cold hands, feeling the other woman's trembling pulse beneath her fingers. The bond they shared ignited a fire inside Tara, illuminating the creeping shadows. Fight it! Remember who you are, she urged. Emma blinked rapidly, the glaze in her eyes somehow fading, revealing a flicker of the vibrant woman Tara once knew. Tara, she rasped, voice cracking like dry branches. You shouldn't, you should go. No! I need you! Tara felt tears sting her eyes, the icy grip of fear tightening around her heart. As Tara tugged Emma forward, the old man stepped into their path, blocking their escape. The shadows grow impatient, he hissed, shadows swirling around him. You think you can defeat darkness with your little light? The store trembled, shelves rattling as the shadows writhed like snakes, hungry and alive. Emma, come on! Tara cried, heart racing as she pulled her friend closer. The door loomed just a few steps away, a desperate chance for freedom. But the shadows surged toward them, beings of terror manifesting from the forgotten fears of the missing townsfolk. Faces twisted in anguish, mouths wide in silent screams. Tara felt the temperature drop, cold seeping into her bones. Could she press on? Suddenly, something gripped her ankle, cold and slimy. She looked down in horror. A shadowy hand coiled around her leg, pulling her back into its suffocating embrace. Tara! Emma screamed, wrenching free from Tara's grip in a moment of sheer instinct. Her feet stumbled backward, the trance breaking as she retreated into the encroaching darkness. The place was alive, the store pulsed with it, echoing the lost cries of souls trapped forever. No! Tara lunged forward, but the shadows swirled violently, blocking her path. She couldn't let them take Emma. Get out, Emma! The old man cackled, pointing at Tara. Foolish! You'll join them, just like the others. A low, guttural growl rose from the depths of the store, shadows writhing as they began to envelop Tara. Panic surged through her. What was happening? She couldn't breathe. The walls squeezed in, the light dimmed further, and the shadows danced, eager for new prey. Suddenly, Tara remembered the journal, the words, the warnings about choices and fear. She steadied herself, digging deep into her resolve. Maybe she had one chance to break free. With a scream that echoed through her being, she chanted the whisperings from the book, The Circle K Feeds on Fear. Her voice rang with power, cutting through the suffocating darkness like a knife. The shadows recoiled, the old man's laughter faltering. You dare? Yes! Tara shouted, her spirit fueled by desperation. Emma's sobs echoed behind her, but Tara couldn't look back. Not now. The whispers filled her, guiding her, teaching her how to fight back. With renewed strength, she reached into the depths of her fears, turning them into the steel of hope. Would it be enough? As the shadows quivered, a path began to form amidst the chaos. Could she and Emma escape the vortex of despair and lies? With every ounce of willpower, Tara surged forward, not looking back. But the old man's shadow stretched long and dark, filling the space behind her. You can't stop the coming night, Tara. You've only fueled its hunger. And as she stumbled towards the door, an ominous howl echoed from deep within the store, sending a chill down her spine. It was clear then something darker lurked, waiting to reveal itself. But would she ever make it to freedom? As the shadows writhed hungrily, the real terror was just beginning to unveil itself. Tara's heart thundered as she raced toward the door, determination battling fear with every hurried step. The shadows coiled tighter, reaching out like a sinister embrace, and she could hear Emma's desperate cries echoing behind her. Help me! The words cut through the air like glass, sharp and fragile. But Tara couldn't look back. A chilling instinct drove her forward, the old man's laughter weaving through the air, laced with darkness. You're too late. They are already here. For a moment, everything felt surreal. The store closed around her, shelves pulsating, like a beast inhaling. Tara's breath turned ragged. Her mind raced as panic clawed at her throat. It felt as if the walls were shifting, collapsing inward, a nightmare made flesh. She pushed harder, feet crashing against the floor, vision blurring amid the dimming light. An unfamiliar howl echoed throughout the space, reverberating through her bones. It was close and primordial, awakening an animal instinct buried deep within her. Tara knew, without a doubt, that something lurked in the shadows, watching, hunger gleaming in its abyssal eyes. The air thickened, almost suffocating, a voracious fog wrapping around her, tugging at her skin, pulling her back into the abyss. Ignoring the icy tendrils grasping at her ankles, she gritted her teeth and flung herself at the door, heart hammering in her chest as she shattered the last barrier of silence. "Tara!" Emma screamed again, desperation etched into her voice as the shadows consumed her. "No!" Tara shrieked, reaching back. But the darkness had swallowed Emma whole, and Tara felt the weight of her loss settle on her shoulders, cold and heavy. Suddenly, the lights flickered violently, casting distorted shadows that danced chaotically on the stained walls. Every flicker was like a heartbeat echoing a warning. The shrill sound of grating metal startled Tara. She turned just in time to see the old man drawing closer, his face warped in a grotesque smile, teeth sharp as knives against the dim glow. "You wanted her back?" he rasped. "You'll pay that price." A powerful surge of energy rippled through the air, snapping Tara back to reality. She had to fight. She could feel the power of the journal pulsing within her like a second heartbeat. Remembering the words, a primal scream tore free from her throat, primal as ancient rites long forgotten. "The light will cut you down." As those words broke from her, blinding light erupted from her hands, driving back the shadows around her. For a moment, she stood in a halo of shimmering energy, the shadows hissing and recoiling, yet the old man only laughed. "You think you can defy them? You only delay the inevitable." The lights flickered again, but Tara pressed forward, willing the light to grow brighter. Shadows writhed in agony, but it was clear they were fearless. They lunged toward her, desperate to extinguish her warmth. The ground trembled under her feet, an insidious vibration thrumming like a dying heartbeat. The old man stepped closer, eyes gleaming with dark intent. "You're the spark now, but even sparks die." With a final, desperate push, Tara channeled all she had, fueling her spirit with every thought of Emma's laughter, every cherished memory. Light erupted, a burst of brilliance that shattered the darkness, but was it enough? As the light enveloped everything, the howling intensified, melding into a chorus of despair. The shadows shrieked, but Tara felt the pulse of hope as she surged into the blinding brightness. Yet just as suddenly as it began, the light flickered. Tara squinted, caught between hope and dread, feeling hands grasp at her, cold fingers brushing her skin like whispers of madness. In that moment of uncertainty, she realized she was no longer in control. The world around her warped, expanding, then collapsing. "Don't be afraid," a voice murmured just beyond the chaos, familiar yet foreign, wrapping around her consciousness like soft velvet. Tara's breath hitched, her heart racing as a shadow stretched before her, reshaping itself with alarming speed. "Help me," echoed through the darkness, resonating in the very pit of her soul. Then silence. And the shadows paused, waiting, anticipating, but who would help her, and who would escape this time? Tara blinked hard against the fading light. The whispers faded, and an oppressive stillness filled the air. It smothered her, thick and heavy, as if the very atmosphere was charged with dread. She felt disoriented, like she had been spun around in a storm. The shadows lingered at the edges of her vision, still restless and hungry. Her heart raced as she fumbled to grasp the journal. It felt warm against her thigh, a heartbeat of hope amidst the consuming darkness. Tara, the voice, familiar yet ghostly, beckoned again, coaxing her deeper into the shadows. She shivered, fighting the urge to follow. Who was it? Emma? Or something far more sinister? "Where are you?" Tara called, her voice trembling, echoing hollowly in the silence. No answer came. An unsettling thought gripped her. What if Emma was gone forever? The realization pushed her forward, thrusting her into the heart of this nightmare. With every step, the ground felt unstable, a living thing, pulsating underfoot. Then, without warning, the lights surged back to life, illuminating the chaos surrounding her. Tara gasped as she saw them, figures cloaked in shadows, darting just beyond reach. They flickered like old film reels, morphing into grotesque shapes that twisted and writhed. "Help me!" it came again, louder, echoing through the store. Tara closed her eyes, straining to block it out, but the plea invaded her thoughts. The very essence of fear pricked at her skin. "Get out!" Tara shouted, barely able to hear her own words over the rising cacophony. But the shadows thrummed with cruel delight, encircling her like wolves with their prey. Near the back of the store, she caught a glimpse of her reflection in a cracked mirror, a gaunt figure with wild eyes, illuminated by unnatural light. It wasn't just her reflection, it was a ghostly echo, a projection of someone she no longer recognized. "Emma?" Tara's cry shattered the frozen air, a desperate plea. The shadows pulsed in response, advancing upon her with a determined ferocity. Panic clawed at her throat. She had to move. She sprinted toward the checkout counter, a barrier between her and the encroaching darkness. Her breath came in rapid bursts, the scent of something metallic filling her senses. Suddenly, the store shifted, shelves swaying as if caught in a dream. A shelf near her toppled over, sending cans and glass bottles crashing around her, the sound deafening. Tara had to think. The journal, its words rumbled in her mind like thunder, urging her to remember. She had felt its power before. If she could channel it again, stay back. She screamed, raising her hand, focusing on the warmth spreading through her. The shadows hesitated, recoiling from her outstretched fingers. But the old man's laughter rang out, somehow louder than the chaos. "You think you can wield that power forever? You'll be just like her." Tara froze. "Like who?" "Your dear Emma," he teased, his voice twisting in her gut. "What made you think the light could save you?" "No," Tara whispered, shaking as memories of Emma fueled her determination. She felt the corners of her mind twist with doubt, yet the light thrummed stronger within her. She wouldn't lose her friend, she couldn't let the darkness claim another. With trembling resolve, she recited the incantation, breathing life into the words as she had before. The light flared, momentarily banishing the shadows, illuminating the fear etched into the store's walls. But just as the shadows writhed and howled, the lights flickered dangerously again. The laughter morphed, warping into cries of agony. Once you enter the darkness, it never lets you go. The words hit her like a punch to the gut. Tara's breath left her. She couldn't shake the feeling that something tentacled was reaching out to ensnare her, pulling her into an unfathomable abyss. The old man grinned through the flickering shadows, his eyes gleaming with malicious glee. Something crashed again, forcing her to pivot. Her heart sank at what she saw just behind the wall of darkness, a figure standing in the gloom, eyes wide and terrified. Another silent plea, as powerful as the one that had echoed before. "Emma," with a jolt of desperate courage, Tara stepped forward, the journal crackling with energy. She must choose. To fight, or to flee. But as she prepared to charge, a horrifying realization gripped her. Some shadows cannot be fought, they must be faced. "What will you do, Tara?" the shadows whispered, slinking back as if waiting for a command. Then she understood the true price of survival lay ahead, and it was darker than she could ever imagine. Tara's heart pounded like a war drum, every beat echoing in her ears as she confronted the looming darkness. She felt the warmth from the journal begin to fade, its once comforting power dimming under the weight of despair. The shadows skittered closer, whispering in a language that gnawed at her sanity, urging her to succumb. Panic bubbled within her, and she clutched the journal tightly, trying to squeeze strength from its pages. "I won't let you take her!" she shouted, voice cracking with fear. But the darkness only chuckled low and menacing. The shadows formed a colossal shape behind her, tall and daunting, stretching like claws to ensnare her. Tara whipped around, eyes darting, searching for any sign of Emma. All she could see were those menacing silhouettes, flickering like flame. "Face your fears, Tara," the old man's voice hissed from somewhere within the chaotic gloom. She could feel his laughter rattling through her bones, mocking her. "Save her or let her join the others." Her breath quickened, every instinct urging her to flee. But in her gut, she knew that running would lead to their separation, possibly impossibility. Could she really risk it all on a mere hunch that Emma still needed her? "Emma!" Tara screamed again, desperation clawing at her throat. A faint flicker of light erupted from the journal, casting a shimmer around her. For a fleeting moment, she saw a familiar outline, a flash of blonde hair and wide, terrified eyes. "Help!" Emma's voice echoed, cracking against the waves of darkness that twisted and wailed. Tara's heart twisted painfully. It was real enough. Emma was still here, somewhere amidst the chaos. Compelled by something deeper than fear, Tara raised the journal before her like a shield. Whatever it takes, I will find you. The shadows stirred, reforming into a torrent swirling around her. Each breath she took was now tainted with decay, a suffocating reminder of what lurked in the dark. Tara clenched her jaw, focusing on the journal. She whispered the incantation again, the words spilling from her lips as if they summoned a forgotten strength. The light surged, pulsing outwards, pushing back the darkness momentarily. The shadows writhed, hissing in frustration. But she couldn't dare lose momentum. She had to fight harder. Emma? Can you hear me? I'm coming! She hollered, adrenaline coursing through her veins like fire. Then she felt that the ground beneath her cracked, sending ripples of panic up her spine. A dark mass erupted, tendrils reaching out, trying to drag her down. She stumbled back, heart racing, feeling her heels collide with cold tile. Your power is nothing against the real darkness. The shadows howled, growing thick and oppressive. But Tara felt the journal crackle in response, the familiar warmth burgeoning within her, an ember refusing to be snuffed out. It resonated with her determination, the fused resolve to tear through the veil obscuring her friend. Enough! She yelled, voice stronger than the panic clawing at her insides. With every ounce of strength she could muster, Tara lunged forward, plunging the journal into the swirling mass of darkness. Light burst forth, temporarily blinding her. She felt the weight of the shadows shift, dislodged for just a moment. Tara dared to hope, reaching out blindly, grabbing at the tendrils of light woven through the chaos. Emma? She cried out again, feeling tugging forces pulling her in multiple directions. And then, just as hope flared, she heard a scream, a piercing cry that shattered her resolve. Tara! Don't let them pull you in! The words reached her just before the shadows slashed out, wrapping tightly around her limbs, dragging her into an oppressive embrace. Tara felt panic shoot through her, the sensation of falling colliding with an icy chill creeping into her bones. She gritted her teeth, fighting against the surge of darkness that craved her fear. But deep down, she felt the truth settling in. Could she bear the burden of that scream, the price of power? And would she have the courage to do what was absolutely necessary? For Emma's sake? How much was she willing to lose to save her friend? The shadows tightened their grip, and the darkness stirred, whispering malicious promises. Will you sacrifice your light for her life? They coaxed, their voices dripping with temptation. The choices ahead felt insurmountable, and all at once she understood the struggle for Emma's salvation was about to consume her entirely. With a final breath, Tara screamed against the onslaught. Then I will face every shadow to bring her back. But would that choice seal their fates forever? The shadows twisted around Tara like a living entity, pulsing with an insatiable hunger for her despair. Each tendril squeezed tighter, pulling her deeper into the murk, where time felt like a mere suggestion. She could almost hear the dark laughter, a cacophony of terrifying glee. In that terrifying grip, Tara closed her eyes, channeling everything she had into the journal. Every heartbeat echoed with a desperate prayer for strength, for clarity, and most importantly for Emma. The light from the journal expanded, shooting beams of desperate hope into the encroaching night. Don't let go! The voice was muffled now, swallowed by the cavernous shadows. Tara clawed at the oppressive darkness, grit and determination coursing through her veins. Emma? Her voice rang out, raw and earnest, pleading. I'm here! And then a vision broke through the chaos. Emma's face, pale and desperate, illuminated by an eerie green glow. Tara's heart nearly shattered at the sight. They were close. The shadows shifted, revealing twisted faces drawn tight with glee, their eyes glistening with malice. You're so close, they hissed, their breath rancid. But so far from safety. Tara resisted the urge to recoil. She pushed the journal forward, feeling the warmth intensifying in her palms. You want to take her? She shouted. Each word was a hammer against the void, driving a wedge into the darkness. Suddenly, the shadows recoiled, releasing their hold just a little, enough for her to steady herself. Tara staggered, vision swimming, but she refused to falter. The need to find Emma ignited a flame in her chest, blazing against the darkness, threatening to extinguish her hope. "Let her go!" she screamed, channeling all her fury and fear into the words. "You're nothing but a coward. You thrive on despair." The creature manifested in the shape of a grotesque figure before her, a swirling mass of old nightmares and regret. It opened its maw, a gaping abyss, whispering temptations that tugged at her vulnerable soul. "Embrace the darkness, Tara. You have power more than you know. Just join us and she will be yours." She shook her head vigorously, clenching the journal like a lifeline. "No!" The warmth within pulsed against the encroaching chill, igniting her spirit with defiance. She surged forward, creating a dome of light around her that pushed against the oppressive blackness. "Emma?" Tara cried once more, desperation surging. The shadows screamed, anguished and furious, thrashing against her radiance. But Tara felt the warmth growing, bending the shadows under its brilliance. In that moment of clarity, she remembered the ancient incantation. By the echoes of light, she began, each word flowing out like embers, fueling her courage. "I command you." As she spoke, the shadows hurled themselves against her, clashing with the light. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, with an explosion of energy, the mass erupted, scattering into wisps like smoke caught in a flame. Tara heard the echoes of Emma's cries winding through the fading darkness, mingling with her own voice. And then silence. The oppressive weight lifted, revealing a dim, cold room littered with torn pages and frayed remnants of stories long forgotten. Tara gasped for breath, dropping to her knees as the journal flickered beside her, light barely clinging to life. "Emma," she whispered, trying to pierce through the suffocating silence. But the air was thick with a new dread. She felt it, an unsettling shift behind her, a quiet groan of raw power coiling through the room. The silence bathed her, chilling her to the core. Was this merely a pause, a moment to gather strength for an even greater confrontation? And at that moment, the shadows whispered once more, inviting her deeper into their web. "You think you've won. But the game is just beginning." Tara's breath hitched as she turned, fear flashing through her veins. What had she unleashed? What was waiting for her in the darkness that now felt impossibly closer? A chill swept through the room as Tara spun around, the air thick with foreboding. The shadows slithered and writhed, dark tendrils stretching towards her, malevolent whispers nesting in her ears. "Join us, Tara. You cannot escape," they hissed, their voices clashing like metal on metal. Panic ignited in her chest. She scrambled back, her heart thrumming violently against her ribcage. Shadows pressed in, hungry for her terror. They beckoned with promises cloaked in darkness, urging her to surrender to despair. But even in the grip of fear, deep within her heart, she fought against the urge to yield. "Leave me alone!" she shouted, thrusting her arms out as if to physically push the shadows away, though she knew it was futile. Her fingers clenched around the journal, the last beacon of hope in an abyss of darkness. Its feeble glow flickered like a dying candle, but Tara sensed the latent power still resting within. "You're stronger than you think," the seductive voice coiled around her, trying to slip through the cracks of her resolve. Tara could feel the weight of its promise, the sweet allure of giving in pressing at the edges of her mind. It would be so easy. But then she saw Emma's face again, so close yet so far. "I'm not afraid of you," Tara cried. "I want to give in." The shadows recoiled momentarily, seething in agitation. Then they began to morph, reshaping into nightmarish reflections of Tara herself, her doubts, her insecurities, each one whispering their own venomous truths. "You're alone. You have no power. You cannot save her." "No!" Tara flared up with defiance. "You're wrong. I can save her." Each word was a declaration, carving through the cacophony of doubt like a knife. The barriers between her and the darkness thinned, giving way to a sudden surge of understanding. "Strength and fear can coexist, but I choose strength," she yelled, channeling her conviction into the journal. The light swelled, a brilliant eruption illuminating the corners of the chaos. The figures of her fears flickered, their hold on her weakening under the radiant glow. But as the shadows thrashed and writhed, a new figure emerged from the blackness, a silhouette tall and twisted, exuding a menacing aura. You think your light can vanquish me? It boomed, its voice a low rumble that reverberated through her bones. I am the darkness that feeds the world as fears. I am the shadow that lingers in the corner of every room. You cannot hope to defeat me. Tara's heart raced as the figure advanced, creeping closer, its eyes glowing like embers in a dying fire. A cold sweat broke out across her skin as the overwhelming pressure of despair clawed at her. Yet she stood her ground, heart pounding. I will find Emma. I will break this curse. With that conviction fueling her, she invoked the ancient words again, louder this time. By the echoes of light, I command you. The shadows screamed, a chorus of agony mixed with rage, thrashing against the brilliance surrounding Tara. The figure faltered for a moment, and Tara seized her chance, pushing deeper, rallying the last of her strength. As her voice reverberated, the room quaked, light flaring as the shadows recoiled. But just as victory seemed within reach, a darkness surged back, more powerful, more ferocious than before. You cannot win, it thundered, its voice now laced with an agonizing certainty. Your light is but a flicker in this endless night. The room grew colder, her breath visible in the thickening gloom as despair wrapped around her once more. Something ancient churned within the shadows, a forgotten threat clawing its way to the surface. Tara's vision began to fade, the world slipping as she wrestled with the weight of despair. Fear crept slowly into her heart like a fog, suffocating yet intoxicating. Then she felt it, a sharp tug on the edge of her consciousness, one she recognized immediately. Emma? She gasped, memories flooding back like a rushing tide. But as the shadows encroached again, she was faced with a horrible truth. What if she has gone? What if it's already too late? In that moment of self-doubt, Tara stood at a precipice, unsure of the outcome. Would she embrace the darkness to find the truth, or would she maintain her fragile grip on light? What will you choose, Tara? The shadows whispered hungrily, eager for her answer. The question hung heavy in the air, suffocating like a thick shroud. As darkness closed in, Tara felt her heart tremble at the edge of despair. What awaited her on the other side of the darkness? What terrible revelations would she face if she dared to step forward? Tara's pulse raced, a frantic drumbeat in the silence that wrapped around her like a vice. She was trapped between light and shadow, every breath steeped in uncertainty. The oppressive figure loomed closer, whispers thickening, drowning out her thoughts. Choose, Tara. Will you let the darkness take you? It taunted, each word sharp as glass. She felt her knees buckle, but she pushed against the wall behind her, steadying herself. She thought of Emma, of the laughter they shared, the plans they made, a future so bright it shone nearly as bright as the light in the journal she now clutched desperately. No! She screamed, the word bursting from her throat. It echoed through the room like a shot fired in silence. The shadows shrieked, recoiling as if her defiance had sliced through them. The light from the journal flared, blinding her momentarily. As she squinted, Tara gasped. Shadows writhed and twisted, struggling against the glow. They formed grotesque faces, their features distorted by rage. Her own fears screamed back at her, filling her with doubt. Are you really ready to face the truth? No one is waiting for you. One shadow hissed, morphing into the likeness of Emma, her eyes wide and desperate. Tara staggered, grief knotting in her chest. No! She shouted again, rallying her strength. I wouldn't let you take her from me. Each word felt like a bullet fired at the swirling darkness. In that instant, she felt a flicker inside her. It was pain and hope woven together. Tara forced herself forward, the journal glowing brighter with every step. The shadows shrieked, a cacophony of horror and despair, but she marched onward with grim determination. I am not alone! She cried, staring down the nightmarish figure. Her voice, low yet fierce, resonated with a power she had never known. You are nothing but a trick of the mind. The darkness surged forward in a wave, a tidal force that threatened to swallow her whole. Tara clenched her eyes shut, feeling the rush of cold enveloping her like a shroud. She opened her heart, embraced the darkness, and began to focus on the light within her. Emma's memory pouring warmth into her veins. The shadows twisted, morphing into an angry storm that surrounded her. "Face your fears, Tara," they chanted, relentless in their onslaught. The temperature plummeted, and her breath became visible, a gray mist swirling around her face. But Tara stood firm. Her fingers pressed against the journal, and she cried out a new incantation, words whispered to her in happier times. "Love conquers all." The shadows quaked, the colossal figure faltered, and in that moment, Tara felt a rush of energy. The journal pulsed with golden light, breathtaking and pure, highlighting every corner of the room, revealing the fearful faces that had haunted her. They shrank under the brightness, losing their power. Just then, an unbearable pain surged through Tara's heart, a deep, echoing laughter intertwined with despair. "You think you can erase me? Your own soul is tainted." The looming figure boomed, now trembling with rage and fear. "No!" Tara shouted, determination igniting within. "I choose to fight." The light grew stronger, filling every dark crevice, and the shrieking shadows began to peel away. But the figure surged one last time, lunging at Tara with arms wide, hoping to ensnare her. "Fate does not bend," it roared, grasping at her, fingers brushing against her arm. Tara felt a warmth begin to take over the cold creeping in, and she gasped, feeling the tug of desperation entwined with hope. Suddenly, she was yanked back into her memories, searching for an anchor. "Emma," she murmured. Just as she thought she had lost everything, the journal exploded with light, pushing the darkness away in a shattering wave. But in that blinding surge, she felt something shift. What had she truly unleashed? And at what cost? Was her victory merely temporary? The shadows shrieked and howled, but their voice began to change, fading into whispers. "Your past will haunt you yet, Tara." As the brightness flickered again, Tara realized she hadn't won. She had only found the first step toward a much darker journey that awaited her. What more stood to reveal itself in the shadows? What unimaginable horrors lurked beyond this victory? Tara stood, breathless and trembling, as the blinding light from the journal began to fade. The shadows writhed and hissed, shrinking back into the corners, but their whispers continued to haunt her. "You cannot escape us, you will always be ours." The words clawed at her mind, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lingered at the edges of her reality. She glanced around the store. Everything felt different yet the same. The familiar aisles, the fluorescent lights flickering above, the cool tile beneath her feet, each element now felt like a remnant of a past she could never return to. Where was Emma? Had she truly freed her friend, or had she only stirred the darkness awake? The journal, still warm against her palm, whispered softly, urging her to remember the power she had only begun to understand. Tara squeezed it tighter, summoning every ounce of strength that had set her apart from the shadows. She refused to lose hope. "Emma!" she called out into the silence, desperation spilling from her. But the store remained eerily quiet, every heartbeat echoing back, a hollow reminder of everything she could lose. Suddenly, a figure emerged from behind a shelf. Tara froze, heart pounding as she faced what she hoped was Emma. The silhouette wavered, advancing cautiously. A moan escaped her lips as the light brightened, revealing Emma, yet it wasn't the Emma Tara remembered. Emma's eyes were sunken and vacant, her once vibrant spirit trapped like a moth caught in a web. "Tara," she whispered, voice trembling. "I can't remember." Tara's heart clenched. "Emma!" She rushed forward, enveloping her friend in an embrace, warm tears streaming down her face. "I thought I lost you." But the embrace felt wrong, as if Emma was slightly out of reach, her essence fading like smoke. Tara pulled back, eyes searching for life in her friend. "You're here! You're safe!" But doubt tethered her heart, anchoring her to the fear that had nearly consumed her. "I can't remember," Emma repeated, voice distant. "The shadows they take, they don't let go." "No! You're stronger than them," Tara insisted, willing desperately for Emma to understand. "We fought them. Together. You have to fight back. Remember the laughter, the dreams, everything we shared." As Tara pulled back, the shadows groaned, swirling restlessly around them. You think love can conquer all? The voice echoed, familiar yet warped, a sinister reminder of the darkness lurking just out of sight. Emma, focus! Fight! Tara felt Emma's grip slip. She was fading, and the shadows danced hungrily at the periphery, beckoning her in, promising to unlock everything that Tara feared. But she couldn't succumb, not now, not when her friend needed her most. Emma, listen to me! Tara shook her friend gently, desperation clawing at her throat. Feel my love! It's right here with you. Remember the times we spent, the joy we created. Love is the light! Break free! Emma blinked, clarity flickering in her eyes. Tara, I remember, she shuddered, the shadows briefly recoiling as if burned by the spark of hope ignited within them. The glow from the journal surged, illuminating the corners of the store, revealing the shadows' sinister forms shrieking in anger. But the darkness surged back, even angrier now, and the laughter crescendoed as despair settled back in once more. You think your love can save you? You are foolish. Love makes us strong! Tara shouted, her voice a fierce declaration as she clutched the journal. Energy pulsed through her like a wildfire, igniting the air around them. You don't own us! Tara's heart beat in time with the light, every thud sending immeasurable warmth through her veins. Together! She cried, turning to Emma. In that moment, clarity sparked between them, a connection that transcended fear. Emma's expression shifted, determination flooding her eyes. The weight of despair began to melt away, and Tara could see fragments of the woman she knew returning. Side by side they lifted the journal, raising it high above their heads, their voices entwining in a harmonic chant. Love conquers fear! We will be free! Light erupted from them, cascading through the store like a tidal wave. Shadows shrieked, melting away as tendrils of darkness retreated, shriveling into nothingness. The cold air warmed, transforming the suffocating atmosphere into a gentle breeze, lifting their spirits as it twisted around them. In the explosive brightness, Tara and Emma felt the bond they had forged, a force stronger than the encroaching darkness. The shadows howled, the old man's taunts dissipating into silence as hope surged between them. I'm right here, Tara. We're alive! Emma breathed, her hues returning, the light chasing the empty weight from her eyes. And then, as the shadows receded, Tara felt a sudden calm wash over her, as if the storm had faded, leaving clarity in its wake. They had survived. But that victory came at a cost. Is it over? Tara whispered, the question lingering in her mind. For now, Emma replied, her voice laced with determination. But we have more to uncover. With the shadows retreating, the Circle K felt different, not as a store haunted by darkness, but as a sanctuary of new beginnings. Tara's heart was light, hope flickering within her. They still had a long way to go, but they had each other, and that was enough to face whatever lay ahead. The bell tinged softly as they stepped braver into the world outside, hearts racing as a new dawn painted the horizon. They were more than mere survivors, they were warriors of the light, determined to vanquish the darkness together. Together, they would face the shadows, no longer intimidated but empowered with love. As they stepped into the day, the future awaited, shimmering with unfathomable possibilities. And just like that, the Circle K's secrets revealed themselves, illuminating the life anew. But this was only the beginning. You need to subscribe now. Don't miss out on the next exclusive stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about what may come next. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support means everything.